Good evening, gentlemen, and we are on our final part of mentoring, our mentoring season. So it's part four. It's the last one, and we're gonna kind of just summarize and give our thoughts, final thoughts on mentoring. I've got a couple of stats here as well from a business perspective regarding mentoring. So I'll have a read of that. So if anyone wants to kind of give me your final thoughts on how you felt the mentoring session went, and has anything kind of stayed within your minds where something that I've said, something that Inch has said, or anything that you said, Nick, that you kind of fall back on, or what Anthony said, that you can kind of fall back on and think, okay, I'm going to take that from this, and either remember it or move on with it to help or support other people that need that mentoring support, or anything that we could personally take from it that we can use to rebuild, ourselves through mentoring or mentorships or menteeships. What do you think?
Do you mind if I go first, Inch? Is that all right? Okay, so first of all, are there things that you've both said that stick with me over the years? Oh yeah, I'm still waking up screaming from some of them. Sorry. Is that too explicit? Maybe. I'll tell you a thing I've taken away from this. If I'm really honest, there's a couple of bits really, but the main one is I'm thinking about you guys that I've got here, other close friends that I have, that we seem to work as mentors for each other. There's no for example, there's no hierarchy. It's just kind of where I fall short, somebody else will pick up. Where they fall short, hopefully I can help them pick up. That encouragement bit, that's the bit for me. So out of all of this, it goes back to when we was talking about friendship before. It goes back to choosing, and me and Mike had this conversation as well, but it's that choosing wisely, whatever that means. You can only choose wisely in that moment. So there's that level. Now, the other bit is, I'm not egotistical enough to think that I've got everything sussed, because I haven't. So for me, like I've said to you, Winston, like I've said to you, Inch, there's bits, Inch, that from you that I've kind of, old-fashioned term, I've pirated, I've nicked, I've taken from you, Inch, that I'm just kind of like, I'm grabbing that because that makes sense. From Winston, there's other bits. And I believe that you guys, we've all done it from each other. And I'm not scared, I'm not too scared to say, you know what, I'd be really happy to. I've done it at work. There's somebody at work at the moment where I'm comfortable about what I do at work. I'm confident about what I do at work. But there's a guy there, slightly older, a lot more experienced than me. And I've said to him point blank, I'm watching and learning from him. And I've kind of adopted him as my mentor, if you like. I don't know how he feels about it, but it's kind of, it's just that experience. So I'm not arrogant enough to say that I don't need one. So those are the two main points that have come from this from me. That's it. Really.
Excellent. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Mike, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of bits from me as well. I mean, and I really never thought about it in this way in terms of, children, and by default, and we spoke about this over the last couple of pods, by default, their first kind of mentors, good, bad, or indifferent, invariably are parents, really, because they're the people that they're probably around the most during the formative years. So, it's just being a bit more mindful about that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the world's best parent, because, that's up for debate, but by default, as parents, we need to be very, very aware and alive to that fact that, we are by default the very first mentors for our children. Also, off the back of that, it's about surrounding, in terms of looking for a potential mentor, I think it's about, you said, as you said, Nick, picking wisely, surrounding yourself, if you can, with the around the right people. You know, if I want to learn about business or I want to be a success at any particular thing or genre, sports, you know, or in the academic world or in the business world, you know, trying to look for the right people that could kind of push you over the line or point you in the right direction to excel in a particular field, really. And so that decision and choice is key. I mean, you know, and sometimes that doesn't always go right. And I think, you know, I'm not going to labour the point. We spoke about, you know, somebody from 0 to 12 and making that choice about, you know, can they make that choice independently? Whether we like it or not as parents, that invariably will happen, won't it? Do you know what I mean? Particularly in this new digital world and that we all live in, you know, people can get a mentor at a click of a button, really, to be honest, you know. But as guardians, as parents also, we need to be alive to that and really try to have that open dialogue, you know, with the people that we're custodians for, I would say, to be able to kind of have that conversation of if it is turning left, if it is, not saying it will do, if it is turning left, to open that dialogue to kind of see you know where that young person is going, really. So
thanks for that, Mike. You know, you know, just following on from what you guys just said, it just makes you realize how important it is to mentor, especially our younger generation. I think it's crucial, to be honest with you. As older gentlemen, I think it's you to be having this ability to use the wisdom that we have, and to have conversations with young people, and realizing that we can actually have an impact on their lives and what they do with their futures and give them direction. It's so important that we use these skills and spend some time with especially the younger generation. You know, obviously I'm talking about that more so than ourselves and our generation, our you know, because we're a bit more wiser, a bit more older, a bit more grounded. So I just think it's really important to continue to, you know, build those bridges between the younger generation and ourselves, because we're kind of living in a time where that, you know, we kind of the older generation and the younger generation are not so kind of we don't have that link together as much as what we used to do, and because of the internet, because of social media, that attention to spending time with younger people, because they're spending time with their phones and computers and whatnot. But when we do get that opportunity to kind of like impart some of our knowledge and our experience, because sometimes I think that sometimes I know that we don't even realize that we're actually having that impact, like you spoke about, Nick, and you've spoken about Mike in previous pods, when you've spoken to certain young people, and it's had that's actually had an impact on where they directed their next steps, and it's happened in a very positive way. But also, obviously, as a mature adult, there is mentoring to be done within ourselves, whether that's personal or private, or if we want to, you know, improve our lot, so to speak, you know, reaching out.
Just to sorry,
go on. No, go on, Nick, because I'm just gonna actually look at some stats from mentoring from a business perspective. But just finish off what you're saying, Nick. It's fine, seriously.
Just going back to partly of what Mike said, which we do agree, it's going to be really difficult for young people to pick wisely. I'm with you on that, Inch. You know, we've spoken about that. But equally, I'm thinking about people that I've kind of had around me as an older guy, and those have been found out to be unwise decisions. Do you know what I mean? And that's as an older person. But as we've all said before, this is you can only go on the information that you've got there and then. So later on, it can evolve that actually that was an unwise decision. So, and so it goes for all of us. But I agree totally with what you said, and I know Winston said it before, which is there's kind of no choice about this mentoring thing. The first person that you're going to listen to are your guardians, whether that be your parents or whoever it is. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. But that was it. That's all I wanted to say.
No, well, it'll be interesting to find out what people who are viewing the content have to say about mentoring. and if they, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, would like to get their feedback and kind of find out what they feel and think about it, because obviously we're just three guys having a conversation. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what other people have to say. But it says here are some mentoring statistics for the UK. Mentoring in business. 70% of businesses reported increased productivity due to mentoring, and 55% say it positively impacts profit. So you can see from a business point of view, it certainly has improved and increased productivity and profits as well. So having mentoring schemes within your workplace and being engaged in them have improved the working environment. It says mentoring and career progression. 71% of people with a mentor say their company provides good opportunities and advance, compared to 74% of those without a mentor. So those that offer mentor programs, it advances the company and opportunities. So that's pretty good. Just on mentoring and retention, employees who are involved in mentoring programs have a 50% higher retention rate than those not involved.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Okay. There's a bit on mentoring and business, mentoring and confidence. 87% of mentors and mentees feel empowered by the relationships and reported greater confidence.
That makes sense.
That's 87%.
Yeah.
That's a high number.
Yeah.
Of, building your business confidence and the culture of your workplace. So mentoring and workplace culture. Inclusive working environments lead to better results. So we can see here that mentoring improves the actual work environment. So anyone that's thinking about mentoring, you might want to when you go to your job interview and they ask you what you want to talk about at the end, you might want to find out if they've got mentoring programs that improve your workplace opportunities, so to speak. What do you think about it, Mike? Because I know obviously you work within an environment that's kind of like that. What do you think of that information? Has that shocked you, or is it kind of
no, I think it's really interesting, because I think in a lot of organisations there is a bit of a ceiling, really, particularly when you want to climb the kind of corporate ladder, where you haven't operated at a certain level before. To be honest, do you know what I mean? And there's always kind of these blockages or to stop you kind of moving up in terms of career progression. So how do you do that? Do you know what I mean? So how do you gain experience when you've not done something before? Do you know what I mean? So having a mentor or somebody that can, inspire you, or kind of that you can shadow, or that can kind of share best practice with you, do you know what I mean? It's so important, because you can get to, with the organisations that I've worked for in the past, you can get to a certain level, but if you want to go into like a managerial role or a senior, or a senior officer role, you need some additional skills, really. And sometimes, and with the role that you're currently doing, it won't expose you to that. Do you know what I mean? So having a mentor, and obviously the training, obviously you've got to do some training, but having a mentor, somebody who's been there, done that, and is able to impart that onto you, do you know what I mean? I think it's really, really key.
Yeah.
What do you
think, Nick? Is it? Can you see the logic in that, or is there anything you want to touch on?
I'm just thinking about, for me, my professor at uni. We became friends outside of university, and he was kind of the guy that I looked to. So much more experience than me, released books on the subject, etc., etc. So he became the person that I kind of hung onto his coattails, if you like. Teach me, let's have this conversation, these really awkward conversations that a lot of therapists were, just say it as it is, they was afraid to talk about. They got a narrative of how of kind of what was safe to say, I'm just going to say, basically like the PC world that we live in now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they don't raise their head above the parapet and say something against the narrative. They don't say that because they would then feel that they would get shunned within inside the community of therapists. So for me, there's that bit of, he was the guy that I looked to, and I learned all that I could from him. And I'm just so effing glad that I did exactly that, because some of the heavy conversations that we had around our belief with therapy, it just got me to a very individual place where I'm not scared of speaking my understanding of how I see therapy. Do you know what I mean? It allowed me to. When I say take risks, it allowed me to take risks. When I say take risks, I don't mean risks with clients. What I mean is take risks in the knowing that other therapists are going to go, did you hear what Nick said? Nick said this and Nick said that, and this is bad and this is bad. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, let's have a conversation. Let's at least explore what you're talking about here. Because is this really your thoughts? Or is this a narrative that keeps you safe and keeps your head up under the parapet? You know, so for me, any business.
And that was something you got from him?
I absolutely got that from him. Okay. Now, whether it be that or whether it be a corporate business, as we all know, they always have to evolve. They always have to improve. And the way to do that is to take those risks of saying those things and being those things that others are scared of saying. You know, sometimes, as we know, it can hurt people. However, it's the only way for growth is to actually speak your understanding.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You know, like following again, having mentors in your life is extremely important. We kind of realize that. And I did mention in the podcast before that I had been mentored by one of my work colleagues to get into management. So and that was at a ripe old age of about 40 years of age. So there's no age gap on growth and being a mentee or mentor. So it's something that I will continue to do, and hopefully keep bearing fruit in that regards. So my question that comes to my mind, guys, is I think Anthony kind of touched on it last week, and we spoke about other ways of being mentored, and in this kind of world of AI and in this world of the internet and YouTube and social media in general, how has that kind of impacted or improved your ability to be mentored or to be mentored by people that you find on the internet? Have you found that that's kind of improved things? Has it made it easier? Or is it the old school way of kind of actually physically kind of communicating with someone the way forward for you? Or are you now looking at other avenues of kind of being mentored?
Mike, did you want to go?
Because I was going to ask that. Yeah, well, no, because I was going to ask the question actually. What makes a good mentor? Really, I suppose we can talk about that a little bit. But I think certainly now, I think in this digital age, I think there are other ways to be mentored. I think, to be honest, you know what I mean, particularly online. You know, I mean, it doesn't always have to be one-to-one. You know, there's various groups that one can associate themselves with, where that you can receive mentoring in a group setting. To be honest, as well. I mean, I think that's also very, very useful, particularly if you were kind of going through the same thing or wanting to achieve the same thing. You know, you're getting different experiences and different knowledge from a wide range of different people. You can become a mentor by the click of a button. I mean, I could create a YouTube channel tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And put information on a YouTube channel without checks and balances, and I can almost guarantee you that I might become a mentor to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So So, I mean, I think, we are by default now creating instant role models and instant mentors, really, whether we like it or not. So I think, the traditional sort of one-to-one stuff, I think there'll always be room for that, because I'm a big advocate of that, because I think, that whole relationship with having that with your tutor, Nick, that relationship that you've had with him, I think that would have been vital for you, to be honest. It's more personable. I would say. Yeah. It's more personable. Do you know what I mean? It actually means something. This person's actually giving up their time for me. Do you know what I mean? This is a one-to-one session, and this person is investing in me. And for me, that means quite a lot, really.
I wonder how many people are I'm going to say as guilty as I am. So, say for example, when you're talking about the internet and finding somebody online, for a long time, what I was doing on the internet was finding people that I agreed with and going with that, if that makes sense. Yeah? So it already kind of fit my narrative. Well, I'm just listening to somebody kind of echo to me what I already think, and I'm going, okay, I'm listening to this person because I'm in agreement. For me, you and I have spoken about this, Inch. Me and you have spoken about it too, Win, which is I need to be challenged.
Yeah, 100%.
In a respectful manner, but I'm now listening to people that hold the complete opposite view to mine, to learn their perspective, to see if there is anything in that. Do you know what I mean? Now, I'm still going to have my cognitive biases where I'm saying this person's talking rubbish, but I need to fight through that and just say, you know what, let me listen to the complete opposite of what I believe and how I see, and let me see if there is anything to be had here, anything that I can take from it to learn from. So challenge you guys. I'm not going to say this in a sarcastic way. I mean this in a real way. You guys challenge me. So because you challenge me when I need that, it helps. That's where I grow. You can go back to the old bits about you put coal under pressure, enough pressure it becomes a diamond, all of this kind of stuff. But you guys put the pressure on if I'm acting like a donut, which isn't very often. I'll say that before you get in there, Rich. So
not very often in a day.
Challenging.
No.
So for me, challenging is a big part of mentoring. Mike, keep that thought to yourself, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you. I could see that you was gonna go for me.
It's amazing, really. Would you say that mentoring has improved your value as a person? Do you think it's improved your financial standard over the years?
Inch?
I certainly think it's improved me as a person, to be honest. I mean, in a number of ways, but particularly around confidence and communication skills, and and I think again, being in this format here with you guys as well. Do you know what I mean? Doing what we do now, I'm learning every single week. To be honest, do you know what I mean? And that's the thing, in terms of the people that you're around and picking wisely, things invariably rub off, to be honest, even without you knowing. Do you know what I mean? So for me, personally, in terms of my skill set, my individual skill set, definitely financial, still working at that. I'm still working at that.
That's a conversation that we all probably need to kind of touch on.
Definitely.
Improve
I'm still
those
working
areas.
Yeah, definitely. But I do, I'm getting there. And I think I have learned some stuff in that department, but I'm on that journey financially. But as an individual, I have definitely improved some of my core qualities, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, just really quickly, Winnie, because it's just one of the wordings that you use that we've had this conversation for many years. There's something that I struggle with, that word value for self, and that's something I'm working on, but I struggle with that bit of, has it increased my value? I'm not really sure what that means. Financially, it's definitely played a part. 100% it's played a part. It's helped to improve me, but there is that innate thing for me then, that if I learn something from a book or from you guys, I'm a bit like I'm like a kid. I want to share it. So I just want to give that out. I've learned this off of Mike. Wow, what a great saying, what a great thought. And now I want to go and tell everyone. Do you know what I mean? So sharing out. So whether that's a part of the mentoring thing, don't know.
But that's valuable, though, isn't it? What you're sharing is valuable.
Yeah, I think it is value because you're adding value. So you've been mentored. It's improved you, and now you can add more value because let's say, for instance, we have a conversation. You could talk to me about a strategy of dealing with, maybe a behavior pattern. So the knowledge that you've earned is added value to you because you can now use that in your business, but also you added value to me. So now I can also use that when I'm communicating to other people. Do you see what I mean? So
that makes sense.
the value's been passed on, and then I can pass it on to somebody else, and then that other person learns, and it's a chain of kind of your experience has added value to me, and then it's added value to somebody else.
So it's a bit like the domino effect, right?
Absolutely, and I think that's the great thing about kind of we're kind of talking about learning and we've learnt from information from other people who have mentored us. So it's added value to our personal personality,
100%.
And our ability to communicate and educate. Because remember what you're saying about being a mentor, you need to have a certain amount of knowledge that you can actually pass on. That's more than the other person, so to speak. So that constant education and that constant mentoring that we are actually intaking is adding value to our community to a certain degree, because if we use it right and then pass it on, someone else will benefit. And you find that, I'm sure you do, because I had a conversation with somebody this week, and again I was talking about the podcasting stuff, and talking to my friends and stuff like that.
Did you mention my name?
No, I did mention Inch Private High. Yeah, I mentioned them, but not you.
I prefer him, if I'm honest.
Definitely. Can bring him back. But that conversation that I had with that person, it added value to them. So again, somebody who's younger than me, so I've got a bit more experience than them. So they've taken that information and moved on. So so in terms of finances, it's certainly helped me having a mentor, because I didn't know how to do a certain thing. So I learned management, and then that added, after a period of time, more finances to my bank account. But if I had financial mentoring at 20, I'd probably be a millionaire by now. We probably all would be. But where was that financial mentoring? We didn't really have it, because we was just winging life in general at quite a young age. Maybe our parents had told us to go to college or university, but again, it's listening to that valuable information, isn't it? And not always, we don't always do it. But I've learned over the years that in order to get by, I need to add value to the marketplace, and that means I need to learn a skill, or I need to learn an art, or something that's going to add value to the marketplace in terms of finances. So, okay, time is kind of running away. So we've got a couple more minutes. So, mentoring. Final words. What would you give me one word that sums up mentoring for you?
Vital. For me, it's vital.
Just, if it's one word, but just off the back what you just said there, paying it forward.
Nice. Yeah, just to let you know, that ain't one word, but yeah, no, I get it.
I know, but I just kind of. Sorry.
When?
For me, it would have to be wisdom. Wisdom. I don't know why that one stays with me, but that does. That does. So that's it for today, guys. But we are going to be talking about relationships next week, which is going to be very interesting. Because we're not just talking about meeting partners. We're going to be talking about how to deal with, from our perspective, how we've dealt with breaking up from our partners of old. So we're going to try and add some value or some knowledge on how we've dealt with that. So
can I just say, I won't be around next week.
Neither will I. Just Nick on his own.
Nick, I'm sure you're doing the pod on your own next week, Nick.
In time, we'll be back.
Yeah.
no, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So get into your books, guys, and of what's gone on in your minds and over the last over the last years. And, we've all been through the breakup. So
I'm just looking at myself. I realise I'm already biting my tongue. Bad, isn't it?
Tune in next week. You're gonna like. Any women out there? I'm sure you're gonna like that one. Our friends and esteemed colleagues and other folk, guys. I'm sure they're gonna enjoy that. Okay.
I think we should call it the rebuild.
The rebuild.
Oh, I like that. The rebuild.
The rebuild after a breakup.
After the demolition.
After the demolition. Okay. Anyway, we'll see you next week, guys.
Peace and love.
All right. One love. Bye bye now.